bout de ça, on parle de puces qu'on pourra s'implanter. Ce sera quand ça?
Certainement dans les 10 années à venir. Et d'abord, on va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après, on pourrait s'imaginer qu'on les implante dans nos cerveaux ou dans notre peau. Et à la fin, peut-être il y a une communication directe entre notre cerveau et le monde digital. Ce que nous voyons, c'est une sorte de fusion du monde physique, digital et biologique.
On appelle quelqu'un, on n'a même plus le réflexe de devoir prendre un appareil, ça se fait naturellement. Hein. La technique continue le corps.
Oui, vous parlez et vous dites, je veux maintenant être connecté avec n'importe qui.
Hein?
Et
Hello my friends, this is Linol Anderson, you guys, with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. And in today's video, we're gonna be revealing the truth about the real digital ID, not the big psyop distraction that people are thinking it's going to be some app on a phone or something like that, that the powers that be want you to think it is about. But we're talking about the real digital ID. As you can see, we opened today's video with a clip from Klaus Schwab back in 2016, saying in 10 years, yeah, things are going to drastically change, right? And first the chips started in the clothes, and then maybe we'll implant them on the skin, like the electronic tattoos that are starting to come out. I made a video about that not too long ago. And then in the brain, Neuralink, and then it'll be a direct fusion with our brains and the digital world. My friends, the digital ID is not what you've been told it is. It's being rolled out in a completely different way. And most of you have already complied with it and are going to start going through these changes in the very near future. And there might be some things we can do about it. So that's what we're going to be speaking about in today's video. But I'm going to be revealing to you guys how we are being merged with AI as we speak. And as we become merged with the AI, this will be our digital identity. No more phones. The phones are going away within the next 5 years. You guys got to realize that. Okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button. As I say, subscribe to survive. And also smash the like button. It helps me out with the algorithms because I'm shadow banned. Even people who are subscribed to me don't see my videos anymore. So please hit the like button. Maybe you'll see my videos. But it's just ridiculous how horribly shadow banned I am. It's just pissing me off. Anyways, let's just get into it. All right, my friends? So yeah, that's a big psyop. All these people, I'm not going to comply with the digital ID. And here in their minds, they think that all the digital ID is going to be is an app where everything's connected all in one, and they're going to have to scan things to access things, like how it is in China. Let's be fair. That's how it is in China right now. That's what's rolled out. Okay? And people think, well, that's what's coming here, and that's what we got to worry about. But that whole notion is a psyop, my friends. People don't want to be tracked. They don't want to be traced and all this kind of stuff. Well, guess what? You have a digital ID. If you have social media, that's a digital ID. If you have a cell phone, everything's being tracked. Everything's being traced. You're being recorded. All right? Already government services are all being rolled out online. People are already signing up for that. The One ID or something like that. And it's going to be continue to be rolled out in the next 5 years. That might be the way, but it's not going to be the app that everybody thinks it's going to be, like the britcard. Okay, actually at the end of today's video, I'm going to show you guys how in the very near future how this digital ID system is going to be rolled out with certain government logins, but also through banks. You'll see banking is going to change in the very near future. There's going to be a lot of biometric scans, stuff like that. And it's going to be stuff that it's going to be very difficult not to comply with to be able to live in this world, okay? And it's going to be done in a way that everyone's going to comply and not resist it. It's going to be done in a sneaky way. So stay tuned for the end of this video because we're going to show you exactly how that's all going to go. And like I said, most people have already complied because they have phones, they're being tracked, they're being traced. Facial recognition technology is everywhere. Everywhere you go out in public, every street light is reading your face, right? Because they all have cameras. Airports, government buildings, shopping stores, grocery stores, they all have facial recognition that bring up your digital ID, all right? You already have a digital ID, okay? Their technology is so far advanced, you have no idea. So although it's nice to see so many people, their heart is in the right place. I'm not going to comply with what's going to happen with the digital IDs. But that road is gone. That road is over. You've already complied. I just want you guys to know that. And with what's coming, you're not going to be able to not comply. All right? Because what's coming, what the digital ID truly is something that goes so deep that you won't even be able to believe how deep it goes. And this is what they are not telling you, my friends. That in the future, the very near future, phones are going to be phased out. And the digital ID is going to be actually you, your person. You're going to be merged with AI. All right? And I'm going to show you, coming straight from the WEF and the elite's mouse, how this is all going to go down. And then I'm going to show you how it's already in motion. And a lot of you are already connected to the AI. And you don't even know. I'm going to show you evidence of this. All right? And when you become connected to the AI, this is your digital ID. It's spooky stuff. So a lot of this has to do with the coming 6G. A combination of that combined with the nanotechnologies that are inside people right now. That's right, my friends. And like I said, the phone is going to be no more by 2030. Okay, so that's why I find it funny. All these people are all worked up. Oh, the digital ID is coming 2029 because Keir Starmer says by 2029 when he leaves Parliament it's going to be in and you're going to have it to work and all sorts of stuff. So a lot of people are sitting here thinking they have till 2029, which is hilarious because by 2029, 2030, there's not even going to be phones anymore. So it's not just going to be some app on your phone. If you think that you're going to be here in 20, 30 years walking around still with the same old technology, it's not going to be like that at all. The world is changing. We're going into the age of Aquarius, and this is what the age of Aquarius is all about, merging with the AI. It's bullshit, but that's what's happening. So take a look at this video about how this is all going to go down. You'll see a WEF goofball talking about it. By 2030, how we're not going to have phones anymore. That's going to be, or that's at least going to be one of the least ways we communicate. And then what 6G is going to do. Okay, so take a look.
Sure, you will have such a good digital twin that you'll be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant.
Absolutely, absolutely, and this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
6G will liberate human potential. It will transform the way we live, the way we work, connecting human worlds, physical worlds with digital worlds. And that will unleash new human possibilities.
First radio signal across the Atlantic. With the endless frontiers of wireless, spanning 5G, we start wondering what 6G would be like. 6G will serve as a distributed neural network for future intelligence of everything. Network sensing, and native AI will become two new usage scenarios to fuse the physical, biological, and cyber worlds, leading to an era of connected intelligence. 6G will provide universal high-performance wireless connections with speed comparable to optical fibers. Terabits per second peak data rate, up to 100 gigabits per second user experience rate, and sub-millisecond level transmission latency will enable truly immersive human-centric experience. Further integrating terrestrial and non-terrestrial networks, we can see, touch, smell, and play with family and friends from thousands of miles away, even in the sky or in outer space. 6G will accelerate full-scale digital transformation of vertical industries. In future automated and flexible manufacturing, precise localization and deterministic communication will be provided to support real-time interaction between collaborative robots. Every thinking of network architecture is also considered necessary to enable massive machine learning and knowledge sharing among robots. 6G will continue the journey of connected everything initiated in 5G, but with larger variety of devices, new human-machine interfaces, higher density of connections, and native trustworthiness. 6G will integrate sensing with communication in a single system. Radio waves can be exploited to see the physical world and make digital twins in the cyber world. Radio waves can be exploited to see the physical world and make digital twins in the cyber world. Such capability offers autonomous driving vehicles ultra-high resolution and accuracy in all weather conditions. What's more, high-precision localization and gesture recognition will truly free our hands and make art creation anywhere, anytime. 6G will boast its native AI capability. Deep Edge architecture enables massive machine learning in a distributed and collaborated manner. Robots can thus harmoniously work and play with humans. Meanwhile, end-to-end machine learning will also be leveraged for customized optimization and network automation. 6G is the next horizon of innovations. The ambition of our 6G vision is to make our planet intelligently connected, sustainably developed, better protected, and full of vitality in all walks of life. 6G, the next horizon, from connected people and things to connected intelligence.
Now, in order to do all of that, they need to first get these components into you.
There you go, my friends. So that is the future that is coming. Lord, oh, I'm not going to comply with it. No, we could stop it. It's already here. They've already laid the groundwork. 5G has went up. Nobody stopped shit with 5G. No resistance to 5G. Matter of fact, you complied and consented to 5G and 6G already. So don't give me that bullshit that you're not going to comply. And what do I mean by that? Well, who sat there and said they were going to be the world leader in 5G and 6G technology? Let's take a look. Oh! Zion Dawn did. Okay. So, if you're a person who's in the United States of America, and you're saying, I didn't vote for this, I didn't comply for this, I didn't consent to this, I'm not gonna... If you voted for Trump, which many of you did, many people think they're truthers, voted for Trump. There you go. You complied. You consented. He made it clear he wants to lead the world in AI. You complied. You consented already to this agenda that's rolling out. And I know a lot of good people who are actually awake, who don't support government, didn't vote. And good for you guys. So why is it still affecting us? Because if you didn't comply or consent? Because we are a collective, right? There's only one consciousness that technically exists. We're just experiencing separation. And when the collective, when the majority complies and gives away their consent, the elites take that as, the majority complied or consented, so we could roll out these agendas, even if some people didn't want to do it, but the majority of the consciousness did. Okay, and of course, it's not just the United States, the whole world votes. There's governments in every part of the world, and all the slaves and peasants are brainwashed, and the majority will always vote to give their consent away to the gods. That's what voting is. It's an ancient ritual designed to give your consent away. So that's why we see 5G, 6G rolled out, nobody's resisted, and this is going down. This is happening. Okay? And now let's get to the little bit about the nanotechnologies, because it's not just the 6G alone that's going to make this possible, but it has to interact with the nanotechnology and the graphene oxide that's going to be within you. See, a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to get a microchip, I'm not going to get a Neuralink, I'd rather die before I let them put a chip in my brain. They're not going to get the electronic tattoo. But you guys got to see, these are just little side steps, the end goal agenda. Remember that Klaus Schwab, in the opening clip, remember that he said at the end, it's going to be a direct interaction between the brain and the digital world. Well, my friends, that's because they're putting nanotechnologies inside of us. They don't need to put a Neuralink in your head. They don't need to put the electronic tattoo on the skin. They've already been loading you up with graphene oxide. Okay? So I want to show you guys a very interesting video, and it's going to show how a lot of people have their own Bluetooth address now. That's right, within them. So it's going to show how the people who took the you-know-what, there's a little test you could experiment with to see if they have their own MAC address, or their own Bluetooth address. It's crazy. Just take a look.
In human history. And here's the part they really don't want you to hear. You can test this yourself.
All right, there you go. So that's an experiment you could run on your own. And although I don't know if when you actually run that experiment, like in the video it showed, the V word, and it showed the address, I think you'll see the address, and if anything, it'll say MAC, M-A-C. I don't know if it'll say the V word specifically. I don't know if they just added that to the video, but it is a real thing that's happening. People are emitting this Bluetooth number, which is specific for them. And that, my friends, is your digital ID. And you might be saying, well, I didn't take the thing they wanted me to get, right? Well, it's very interesting. I'm going to tell you guys about a documentary, okay, that you guys could watch on Rumble, and I'll even leave a link to it down below in the description of today's video. It's called Blue Truth. And this is a video with actual doctors from Mexico, okay? And they did a little experiment, all right? And this is right after the Rona times. And they did a legitimate experiment because they heard these things were happening with people. So they went into the middle of the woods and they took people who got the thing they wanted you to get, and then they took people who did not get it. Okay? So the you know what, and the people who, yeah. All right? And they ran this experiment and had them walk to the computer. They of course they took away all the technologies and stuff and just had the one computer there in the middle of the woods, so it couldn't pick up anything else, and one person would walk by and they'd look up and they'd find the MAC Bluetooth address for that person who had the you know what. But the people who did not get the you know what, some of them still had the MAC addresses. Some of them didn't, but some of them did. And every person who had it, the one thing they had in common was they did take a PCR test up the nose. And one even took just the antigen test as well. So if you took a PCR test or antigen, then you got a MAC address as well, a Bluetooth address, a digital ID. Okay? But not just that. They've found this in people who've just had interactions with people who've had the you know what. So like if your partner had the you know what and you've had sexual relations, well, it's a thing called shedding. It's real. You can get it just from being around people who had the you know what. Okay? Hey, animals, believe it or not, animals have been getting the mRNA you know what, and just by having a dog, being in contact with your animal, you probably have the you know what.
FDA last year approved self-amplifying mRNA injections for our cats and our dogs for rabies and a few other things. And these are authorized and they're widely available for online purchase. And so veterinarians across the country are currently injecting self-amplifying mRNA into our pets. This can probably shed onto humans, and this has to be stopped.
Has it started?
Awareness
Has that started
needs to be
yet?
raised.
Has that started?
Yes. Yes. If you look up Novavax NXT, it's the platform developed by Merck. You will find it online, and you can even buy it. It's possible. If their dogs or cats receive the Novavax NXT self-amplifying RNA particles, it's possible they are either shedding the self-amplifying RNA or the antigen products that the dogs or cats are now producing onto the owners through bodily fluids. And so none of this was tested, by the way. They just authorized it anyways because they don't care. And so it's completely unknown really at this point.
But you know what? Since that documentary was made, we've been seeing an increase in graphene oxide being in foods. Now they're finding it in the air we breathe. They're spraying smart dust in the chemtrails. We have this mysterious fog showing up. And I'd say it doesn't even matter anymore if you've had that thing or not. Because now everybody's getting bombarded with graphene oxide regardless. And they're probably everybody probably has a MAC address now, or a Bluetooth address. Okay, in the beginning it was just the people who had the you know what or the PCR test, but now I guarantee you, if they redid these tests now in 2025, that many of the people, regardless if they had a PCR or that, if they didn't do that, I'm sure they'd still test positive for it because it's in everything now. Okay? And like you said, well, I didn't consent, I didn't comply, how could this be? Well, number one, for those of you who voted, you did. This is what you voted for. All around the world, when you cast a vote, which is a black magic spell of giving your devotion to the deity, the word vote comes from the Latin word votum, which means devotion to the deity. You're literally giving your consent to be enslaved and for them to do whatever they want. So the majority of humanity did, and it's going to affect everybody else, even the people who were smart enough not to do it. But this could even go deeper. You guys got to realize we're already in a matrix simulation, an AI simulation. These bodies are already a biological AI. And it's very possible when you signed the soul contract, when you got duped into coming into this realm, that maybe one of the terms and conditions was that they could choose to upgrade the human body anytime they want, and you have to consent to that. So that's how deep this goes. You say, well, I wouldn't comply or consent to that. You may have already done it before you even incarnated into this realm. So that's how they get away with this stuff. Okay? Now the good news is, you'll see in the documentary that the people who did certain detoxification techniques removed their Bluetooth addresses, and it didn't show up when they tested it through certain things. So definitely watch that movie. The link is down below, and you'll see it'll show you where to go to find out their detox protocols. But now I got to do a quick plug of my own detox protocol, because see, what you want to do is you want to remove the graphene oxide. And how do you do that? Well, my friends, OWELI liver detox, alpha lipoic acid, and the berberine protocol, it's called the liver reset protocol, has been designed to totally flush out the liver, which a lot of these nanotechnologies exit through the liver, and the alpha lipoic acid detoxes the graphene oxide. So I got a little video to show you exactly how that all goes down. Take a look.
Ever wondered why you're feeling constantly tired? Your liver could be the culprit. Hey there, health enthusiasts. Today we're talking about the unsung hero of our bodies, the liver. Think of it as your body's own detox machine, working tirelessly to filter out toxins and keep you energized. But over time, it can get overwhelmed. That's where OWELI Liver Detox Protocol comes in. This comprehensive 3-step solution is designed to supercharge your liver health and get you back to feeling your best. First up, we have the liver detox. Packed with natural ingredients like milk thistle and artichoke extract, it helps flush out toxins and rejuvenate liver cells. Then there's alpha lipoic acid, or ALA. This powerful antioxidant not only protects your liver from oxidative stress, but also boosts your energy levels and glutathione levels, which detox heavy metals and nanotechnology such as graphene oxide. And last but not least, berberine. This gem helps regulate your metabolism, supporting healthy digestion and weight management. Together, these products form a dream team for your liver, tackling toxins, boosting energy, and optimizing metabolism. Imagine waking up refreshed with more energy, clearer thinking, and better digestion. That's the power of a healthy liver. If you use the link in the description, you will get 15% off and free shipping in the United States. So why wait? Try it now. Give your liver the reset it deserves and reclaim your vitality today. Visit OWELI.com to learn more and start your journey towards better liver health.
There you have it, my friends. All right, so link to that down below in the description. You could read up more on the liver reset protocol, but I do recommend doing that. Obviously, it's not medical advice. Speak to your medical healthcare professionals if you have any concerns. Make sure you don't have any allergies or anything like that to any of the ingredients. But anything that's going to raise your glutathione levels at the end of the day is going to detox graphene oxide. So that alpha lipoic acid combined with the liver detox, great way to flush it out in my opinion. Okay, 15% off and free shipping in the United States is down below in the description, so check it out. But with that being said, that is your digital ID, my friends. Everybody's getting hooked up to this new simulation, this new digital world, being connected. So you could sit here, you could fight it as much as you want, whine and complain, and say, I'm not going to complain, I'm not going to get a little app on my phone. And if you think that's all they have up their sleeves, you have no idea. That's just a distraction, that's just a diversion. Meanwhile, you're actively being connected to the AI. You don't even know it, because you've already consented, you've already complied, and it's all going to roll out. How exactly is this going to happen? Like, that's always baffles my mind. Like, I'm trying to figure out if this is just going to be a direct communication between the brain and the digital world, like, is it just one day all of a sudden like a phone's gonna pop up, or like all this stuff is gonna pop up and you're just gonna be like, oh, you know, like how are they gonna do that? How's that transition gonna come? And I'm thinking maybe in 2030 when they turn on the 6G fully, that's gonna happen. But like, are they gonna want to implant some kind of little chip that's going to interact with that? Or like, how are they going to sell that? How are they going to be like, oh, guess what, you know, we've implanted you all, like, and you guys didn't know? Like, I don't know how exactly that's all going to go down. Okay, I don't know, I don't understand, but I know what a lot of people might be thinking right now, and they might be saying, well, Lionel, what's the solution, right? So we talked about the detoxification, how that's a temporary solution, because the graphene oxide, we're always being bombarded with it. So you could detox it, but of course, as soon as you stop detoxing, you get loaded up with it again, right? That's the problem. So what is the long-term solution? And my friends, I think what that solution will be, like if you look at the website there, or the documentary, and they have a website that has the detox protocol. And one of the things in their detox protocol is pranic energy healing, okay? Obviously they have supplements and stuff you could take as well, but one of the things was prana energy healing. And what is prana? Prana is your kundalini life force energy. All right, and I find this very interesting, because now let's take a little look at the whole biblical prophecy and revelations there about the mark of the beast, right? About the mark. And oh, if you accept the mark, you're eternally damned. You can't buy or sell without it. And of course, this is playing out. The Bible is predictive programming, right? And I just want to make it clear, everybody's already accepted the mark of the beast a long time ago. When you entered the simulation, you entered the mark of the beast. The beast is the AI, and we're in an AI simulation as it is, and you're already connected. Your spirit is connected to this AI biological body. We are divine spirit beings who fell. We're the fallen angels, my friends. You've accepted the mark of the beast before you even came into this realm. But the whole concept is at the end of the world that we're approaching, or the end of the age, there is a chance for an ascension event where you could return to spirit. So you are faced with the decision to make. Are you going to reconnect, as I like to call it, with the mark of the beast? You accept the mark so you continue to stay in the simulation? Or are you going to choose to exit the simulation, and that's reconnecting with who you truly are, which is spirit? And how do you do that? Well, what does the Bible say? It says the ones who are sealed in the forehead, the 144,000, will be protected at the end of the day and return to be with God, or whatever. Okay? So what is that all about? Well, 144,000 are not a specific number of people. 144,000 is a frequency. Okay? And I made a video on that right here. I do recommend you guys watch that. I'll leave that in the link below as well, or in the description below. But of course, that is pretty much having a Kundalini awakening. Okay? Because it's a frequency, the 144,000. It's when all your chakras become activated. Okay? It reaches 144,000. It's all explained in that video. So, being sealed in the forehead, what's in your forehead? The pineal gland. The only way out of this, the solution, is to merge with spirit rather than merge with the AI. And when you go through a Kundalini awakening, a frequency runs through you. And this frequency is who you truly are. It is source creation itself. And this source consciousness can overpower anything. It could overpower the AI, you name it. All right? consciousness could overpower anything. And as you can see, this is part of their detox protocol, prana energy healing, that detoxes the nanobots. Well, if you have an active kundalini, then all these little graphene oxide nanobots can't even live in that environment because you're at too high of a frequency. So they could go on and bombard you with all the nano crap they want. At the end of the day, your consciousness will override it all, and you will end up merging with spirit as we enter the end of this simulation, or as we near the end of the simulation. Okay? The other people, they will get merged with the AI. They'll probably hop into that digital world. Remember the one clip there, he says, oh, there'll be you in this physical world and you'll be you in the digital world. There'll be another copy of you. I'm going to make another video on that in the future, but I think people will eventually leave this world and go in that digital world full time, and their consciousness will be trapped in the new simulation. Okay? But as this simulation comes to an end and gets rebooted, the Great Matrix Reset, there will be an ascension event, and those who are sealed in the forehead, 144,000, aka spiritual awakened ones, who did have a Kundalini activation, and who put in the work. It's not just as simple, I think, as awakening Kundalini. Like, you gotta also be at a certain frequency. A lot of people awaken their Kundalini too fast and they go nuts, they go insane because they can't handle the energy. It's not something just, oh, I'm gonna awaken it, it's all gonna be butterflies and roses. No, if you're not ready for it, you got freaking energy blockages, your chakras are still blocked, you could go into a state of psychosis. A lot of people are in the mental institution. Yeah, they actually had a Kundalini awakening. They couldn't handle it. It's called Kundalini psychosis. I don't think they're gonna make it. You gotta put in the work. You gotta unblock all the chakras and have all the chakras activate. Not just a partial activation, a full activation with all the chakra channels open. And then the crown and then the spirit could just... And when the time is right, it could fully detach from the physical AI body that we're within and return to its true light body. Okay? So make sure, if this is a path that you want to pursue, that you put in the work first. You heal yourself on every level. You balance all your chakras. You release any blockages. You got to do a lot of work to achieve enlightenment, and then the Kundalini can release safely. And I know for a lot of people worldwide right now, they're having Kundalini awakening spontaneously. That's what happened to me. I wasn't ready for mine, and I did go into a state of psychosis. It was a horrible experience. But now, I've learned how to contain it. And I've been doing my healing work. Kind of wish that I had the healing done before it happened, but guess what? I still got guided to where I needed to be. And I'm not too worried about my future. I know I'm going down that more positive timeline. Okay? So, something to think about. Make small baby steps, become the best version of yourselves. In the meantime, detox while you still can. While we still have access to these detox products, you could keep that graphene oxide out of you. And go down the spiritual journey. Stay in the now moment. Heal your traumas. And overcome the ego consciousness, the ego AI mind virus we've all been infected with. Raise your frequency, open heart chakra, love. And when the time comes, I'm sure you will have that Kundalini experience. And those of you who will be sealed in the head, you'll be protected. You got time. Time is running out, but there is still a little bit of time left. So there is hope for the individual. But for the collective, this is happening. And it's just what's going to happen. Okay? People could try and fight it, and I'm not going to comply, and this and that. But you can't stop it. The powers that be have enslaved humanity for thousands of years, and if you think anything's changed now, meanwhile, most of the world is still worshipping Saturn and these reptilian deities through their Abrahamic religions and other religions worldwide, or worshiping their politicians and government, humanity isn't even close to stopping them. We do have the power to when the collective awakens and says no more, but the collective is brainwashed as hell. Over 90% of people consented with the last test we went through with the scamdemic. And that just shows you how far gone the collective still is. It's not good, but there's hope for the individual. Okay? My new Ascent 5D class on Patreon goes further on the solutions and how you can surrender as we move into the new age. And not surrender as in I give up and I'm just going to get merged with AI, but surrender from the fear and the anxiety many people are feeling so that you can ascend and leave the matrix. So I do encourage you guys to check that out on Patreon. The link to Patreon is down below. It's a must watch. So join Patreon, my friends, the Ascent to 5D class, or you could just become a member of this YouTube channel, and I'm going to be uploading that here as well. All right? Or you could just buy me a coffee. I'm on the website, Buy Me a Coffee, and if you choose to do that, as a thank you, I always send you guys some videos, some Patreon videos to your email as a thanks. So those are ways you could help support this channel so I could continue bringing you guys this information, because, you know, it's getting hard for me to make videos still because I'm so shadow banned everywhere, Facebook, YouTube, and all that, it's getting hard to keep this channel going. So any help is appreciated. I much appreciate it. And like I said, I'll always give back with video content. And now I'd like to leave you guys with the video of, what's his name? Miles Harris. Okay, he's my go-to guy who sees through a lot of this bullshit and knows about the coming system. And he's been exposing, he's got a whole video playlist on how the elites, how they're going through with this digital ID stuff. And this whole distraction of some app you're going to have on your phone, which so many misguided truthers think how it's all going to go down. They have no friggin' clue. Meanwhile, they've already complied in many ways, and they'll probably continue to comply. And guess what? The system's going to make it, so you have really no other choice but to comply if you want to live and survive. So here's how it's all going to go down, and possible solutions I guess he'll lay out, but still, it's not looking good. But this is what to look out for. He talks about what's going on in the UK, how it's really going to roll out, and what's going to go on in the United States. You guys could expect to see this roll out over the next 5 years. Okay? And of course, by 2030, things are going to ramp up even more once 6G starts going, because then it's the whole digital interface between you and the world. You're not going to have a phone no more. Okay, but it's true, the guy said the phone won't be used as much. Hopefully the phones will still be around for those of us who choose to go down the organic ascension timeline. Hopefully we could still use that technology to get by anyways. Okay, but is what it is. Take a look at what Miles Harris has to say. And that's it. Till next time, Lionel signing off. Hope you guys subscribe by now, and yeah, that's it.
Digital ID, sold as a revolution in convenience, one login for every government service, immediate bank verification, and no need for multiple passwords. Digitisation, efficiency, progress, and a means to combat crime and illegal working. Yet, as many of us are aware, the real story is that the same system that promises frictionless access also holds the power to silently lock you out from your job, your bank account, travel, and even healthcare. You see, with digital ID, one digital credential becomes the gatekeeper to daily life. The technocrats want you to believe that it's an opt-in, a yes-no choice to download and participate with their app and its interface. as per Keir Starmer's recent announcement, which unsurprisingly sparked enormous outcry. But the reality is that digital ID rollout is via an incremental, covert approach, as we have considered in earlier videos looking at the UK. And check those videos out in the playlist. Now, this video in particular will look at the similarities between developments in Britain against those taking place in the US. The UK's real push for digital ID is via a one login system, the gov.uk wallet, and a register of digital verification services. Together, this represents a textbook incremental rollout by stealth. The technological and legal plumbing is built first. It's framed as voluntary, private intermediaries are enlisted, and paper can then be marginalised. Sadly, the same architecture is under construction in the US, under different names and without utilising the phrases of digital or national ID, crucially. Now, I'm going to compare the differences and similarities between the UK and US rollout in the following table, which highlights the British developments against the US parallels. First, government anchor systems. The US has login.gov, which is already used by the IRS, Social Security, veterans, and so on. At the state level, mobile driver's licenses are rolling out under the Department of Homeland Security, the DHS-backed standards. Together, you have an equivalent digital wallet with no name. Second, the UK uses statutory underpinning, while in the US this is likely to come via executive orders and agency rulemaking instead of a Digital ID Act. DHS and other agencies can run pilots or create new data sharing rules. This then sidesteps the politically toxic notion of a national ID, while the scope is expanded. Third, certified private providers are vital to the rollout of this mechanism, as this avoids direct government coercion. The parallel to the UK's digital verification services is the ID.me, Experian, LexisNexis, and others, who already verify identity for unemployment benefits, IRS accounts, and veteran services. They function as the gatekeepers under contract. This offers the same plausible deniability by being able to claim that it isn't a government ID because they're private, but functionally, of course, it is. Fourth, as ever, the Trojan horse is convenience and efficiency. Employers and banks are nudged into checks to ensure liability from fraud or anti-money laundering. The US focuses upon e-verify, which is voluntary, but is likely to become mandatory in time. If it's integrated with digital ID, the combined effect becomes indistinguishable from compulsion. Next is the functional compulsion strategy, where paper processes are deliberately discouraged due to cost or inefficiency to promote digital as default. The TSA already requires Real ID compliant cards at airports. MDLs are designed for scanning, not visual inspection. IRS and unemployment claims are faster to complete online rather than via paper. Here, we really need to advocate for a law that guarantees equal service for non-digital credentials. Penultimately, the timeline for the UK versus the US shows that the UK is lagging the UK slightly, but not by much. I suspect the end of Parliament is truly being planned in the UK as key target date. The US passed the Real ID in 2005 and full enforcement was passed in May this year. Login.gov is expanding rapidly. Ahead of 2030, it would seem plausible that de facto national digital ID is likely to be in place without a congressional vote. I've cited a major legal hurdle to a national identity register in the UK under the Identity Documents Act of 2010. Now, without amendment or repeal, a new centralised register is illegal. In the US, there is no equivalent legal statute that I can find, but there is the Fourth Amendment and the prospect of privacy challenges. Now, this is what makes their workaround of a distributed system using private corporations and state credentials so insidiously clever. What is truly needed in both countries is a law that explicitly prohibits the creation of a single centralized register and guarantees full legal and practical equivalence for paper alternatives. But this must take place before the functional compulsion stage really accelerates digital onboarding. Without major resistance, the US seems to be on track for a de facto digital ID ecosystem by the late 2020s. It will likely consist of the following: Real ID as the physical credential baseline, enforced by the TSA at airports from May this year. Mobile driving licenses as a key digital presentation layer with an ongoing rollout. Then login.gov as a federal single sign-on, which is expanding rapidly. Private identity brokers will then provide the verification layer for benefits, banking, and employment. Its appearance is decentralized and voluntary, but in actuality, it will function as a national system because the same providers and standards will cover every critical transaction. Slower, costlier, paper-based alternatives will be marginalized or even rejected by employers and service providers in time. It's almost a mirror image of the strategy that is unfolding in the UK, which is relying upon a critical mass of people to actually onboard themselves, at which point the UK Parliament can justifiably repeal the Identity Documents Act, while in the US Congress can simply formalise what already exists. What to do? Well, I need help here. As many of you know, my background is economics and finance, not law. So please start sharing this video because we need real expertise on board here. And while I have little faith in politics, it seems what is desperately needed is 1, a flat ban on federal digital ID. 2, a ban on federal funding for state digital IDs. 3, a ban on federal use of private digital ID gatekeepers. 4, anti-coercion laws so that it is illegal for anyone in receipt of federal funds to require digital-only ID from customers or employees. 5, explicit privacy rights need to be put into law, allowing people to remain off any digital ID system without loss of access to everyday rights. Now, we must remember that we are allowed an ever-growing number of people who can act to actually force change. And at the citizen level, we can 1, refuse digital-only credentials. 2, put pressure on private actors for those who are trying to actually normalise digital-only checks, and we can boycott those companies if necessary. 3, undertake freedom of information requests on government private pilot programs, contracts, and so on. Then share findings. 4, put pressure on collective action groups, many who appear to be a lot of noise and bluster here in the UK are sadly not following the finer details. 5, coordinate nationally with different groups to coordinate action and awareness. But perhaps the most important thing is having an understanding of this incremental rollout, which lets us actually mount meaningful resistance. US or the UK, the pattern is clear. Voluntary frameworks, private gatekeepers, marginalisation of paper, and then complete enforcement. At the same time, programmable stablecoins are emerging and the public are turned into ever greater bag holders of government debt. So we've got to resist by being the change that we want to see in the world and do all we can to reduce our reliance upon the system along the way. Now, do check out the other videos on my channel for more. Thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.